It is time to grade the Minnesota Vikings 2022 draft class after year one. Welcome back to Onebar and Lupagus Show. I am Lupagus, and it's time. It's time to go ahead and grade the Minnesota Vikings 2022 NFL draft class after year one. Before we do that, be sure to subscribe to the channel, like the vids. We're closing on we're closing on 9,000, so we are almost there. Keep on hitting that subscription button. Also, hit up Lift Bridge Brewing Company for some delicious brews to ring in your February, which is just around the corner. All right, let's hop into this. So, grading the NFL draft class of the Vikings from last year. Yes, you probably really truly need 3 years to actually and adequately grade a draft, but we're going to do it anyway. This is kind of going to be 2 grades here. We're going to do a production grade and a potential grade, and then mix them together and get our ultimate final grade. I've been grading draft classes after year one based on a system for many years. Basically, the system is you get so many points: 5 points round one, 4 points round two, 3 round three, 2 points total round four, 1 round five, and anything after round five is just bonus. Because really, it's all based on expectations. Obviously, round one has more higher expectations. Round 7 has basically no expectations. So that is your grading scale, and let's get this thing started. Let's start with Lewis Cine, our first draft pick. Lewis Cine, round 1, pick 32. He played in 3 games, had 1 defensive snap, 34 special team snaps. He also snapped his leg in the London game, and that's why his rookie season was a complete and utter disaster. No surprise there. Production standpoint, he gets a 0. Really, truly should be an incomplete, but his potential grade is a 5 out of 5. And that's the silver lining here. Lewis Cine, he's going to be in line to start next year. I'm kind of hoping if they keep Harrison Smith, and I want him to take over Cam Bynum's spot. If Smith does go, then it's going to be Lewis Cine's job as your starting safety for the Vikings. And even when he was healthy, kind of slow picking everything up. He was kind of third on the depth chart. I think that Lions game, Josh Metellus got the start over him. That wasn't great to see, but it's not uncommon for rookies to kind of pick up the NFL slowly. And I think Cine did have some injuries early in his career too. So Lewis Cine, rookie year is forgettable, but a ton of upside, ton of potential there. Let's go to the next draft pick. It was Andrew Booth Jr. He was picked round 2, pick 42. He did play in 6 games. He had 1 start, 12 tackles. Also was picked on quite a bit when he was out there. Production grade, I'm going to give him a 0.25 out of 4. I do give up fractional points. Second round pick expectations are high. And injuries, just like Lewis Cine, derailed Andrew Booth Jr.'s rookie season. Potential those 4 out of 4. This guy, he should definitely compete to start next year. He came into camp, tons of swag, talking shit to Jefferson and Thielen. You'd love to see that out of a cornerback. It just didn't translate onto the field this year. Also missed time, I think, later in camp. And he was in and out of the lineup early in the season. And then he finally came back healthy, and then he hurt his knee again, wherever the hell it was. And he lost the rest of his rookie season. So Andrew Booth Jr. and Lewis Cine, 2 guys we hope are healthy next year. A lot of potential, a lot of upside, but year 1 was a major disappointment from a production standpoint. Let's go to the next one, our second round pick, the big man, Ed Ingram. We chose him at pick 59. He started every single game. 17 starts, 18 if you count the playoffs. Production grade 4 out of 4. He started every game. So you can't ask for more production. You can definitely argue the quality of that production. That is completely fair, as he tripped his quarterback more than once. He was kind of destroyed in passing and pass blocking, but some nice film as a run blocker. Potential grade, I'm giving Ingram a 3 out of 4. I don't know. I hope he gets better. I don't have a whole lot of faith he's going to take a huge jump. I think he kind of is what he is at this point. We'll see. I mean, we're 18 games into his career. I was hoping to see some kind of progression this year. Didn't quite see it. So I'm going to drop him a potential 1 spot just because, I don't know. I think the chances are stronger that he actually takes a step back than takes a step forward. All right, let's go to our 3rd round pick, our linebacker. Pick 66, Brian Asamoah, out of Oklahoma. He played in 16 games, mostly on special teams. He had 17 tackles. That forced fumble that he recovered against the Giants in the first game against the Giants, that showed the potential he has. He absolutely flew to the ball there, tore it out, picks it up, and takes off. This guy's got speed. This guy's got energy. But as far as a production standpoint goes, year one, you're round 3 rookie. You hope you see him a little bit more. I was hoping he would have gotten a little integrated into the defense more than he did. So he's getting 1.5 out of 3, but the potential's there. 3 out of 3. I think he will be your starting linebacker, middle linebacker for the Vikings next year. And he should produce absolutely through the rough. I'm so excited with Brian Asamoah, what he can bring in year 2. And everybody really should be, because this kid is electric. He is a spark plug. He is a starter. He's a twisted fire starter is what he is. So Brian Asamoah, year 2, a lot to be excited about there. But year 1, he showed a little bit of flashes, but not as much as I'd like to see. So let's go to round 4. Round 4 is your cornerback from Missouri, Kwesi's boy, Caleb Evans, the guy who loves to, he painted his hair purple. He's fun on Twitter. He's out there interacting with the fans. He played in 10 games. 2 of those were starts, 23 tackles, 3 for a loss, 2 pass breakups, and a forced fumble. So decent production from your 4th-round pick, where expectations are a little bit lower. 1.5 out of 2 is the grade there. Potential grade 2 out of 2. He had some concussions late in the season, missed some games. You hope he comes back healthy. The Vikings secondary down. I mean, we know we need him so bad because you got Cam Dantzler, Booth coming back from injury, Evans coming back from injury. You hope he can produce. You did like what you saw. He was physical. He was tight in coverage. I mean, for as tight as an down-tail corner can be in coverage. And you do like the spirit and the spunk he played with. So I'm excited for Caleb Evans. I have high hopes for Caleb Evans in year 2, and I'm definitely not giving up on him. And no one should really. I mean, this kid showed plenty. All right, let's go to round 5. Round 5. The first pick, I believe, was this cat, Ty Chandler. Ty Chandler, the running back from University of North Carolina. Pick 169 overall. He played in 3 games, rushed for 6 yards. Primarily a special teamer. I give him 0.25 points out of 1. Potential is 1 out of 1, though, because this guy could be in the mix. You don't know what the Vikings are going to do yet at the running back position. Delvin Cook could be cut to save some money. Alexander Madison may try to see what he can get with a different team. So you could be looking at Ty Chandler, Kenny Nwangu, and maybe a rookie next year as the Vikings running back. So Ty Chandler, year 2, could be his year to make a dent on this Vikings roster and get some true snaps and true carries. I mean, he did get some run. I think it was that Bears game, but that didn't really count. It's the end of the season. Nobody really played in that thing that mattered. So Ty Chandler, not the most productive rookie year, but a lot of upside for this guy too. All right, let's go to our second 5th-round pick. Let's see, who the heck was it? Oh, yes. Asiasi Asamoah. Actually, maybe he was the first one. I got those 2 backwards. Anyway, they're both round 5. Asiasi Asamoah, defensive end from Minnesota, the homegrown cat. He played in 5 games, 5 tackles, 1 for a loss. Again, 0.25 out of 1, and maybe that's generous. I don't know. Here's my problem with Asiasi. I mean, it wasn't like the Vikings D-line was super deep and super talented. I mean, Jonathan Bullard, James Lynch, he couldn't beat out those guys. Ross Blacklock. I mean, not a super daunting depth chart there, but Asiasi didn't see any time until a quarter of the season was left. So that was a little disappointing, and he didn't really do much. He had 5 tackles. He got like a tackle a game. 1 was for a loss. So I'm going to 0.25 for the production, 0.5 for the potential. I don't know if he makes the team next year. I think he'll battle it out in camp, and we'll see what happens. But as far as Asiasi goes, no guarantees for him staying on the Vikings beyond next year, in my opinion, anyway. All right, let's go to round 6. Round 6. Let's see who was first. It was Vederian Lowe, offensive tackle out of Illinois. Played in 5 games. Most of that was special teams work, like the field goal unit or some crap. So 0 to 0 is production grade. It's a 6th-round pick. You don't have any expectations for him. He didn't have anything. He didn't do anything. Potential is 0.25 out of 0. I don't know. I mean, practice squatter maybe he ends up being a backup. I don't think there's much of a ceiling here. Vederian Lowe. It's really hard to get a great feel for what he can bring to the table from how little we did see him last year. So we'll see. A little bit of hope there, but not much. Let's go to a guy who does have a lot of hope. 6th-round pick, 191, Jalen Nailor, wide receiver, Michigan State. 15 games played, 9 catches, 179 yards, had that nice touchdown. So as a 6th-round pick, a receiver who's kind of buried on the depth chart, he was about wide receiver 5. He had some flashes. He was kind of a spark plug in some games when the offense was lulling. The Packers game was 1. He got the big touchdown bomb. So production grade 0.5 out of 0. I think he outproduced where he was projected to be and projected to do. And potential is a 1 out of 0. He gets a major bonus point here because I think he will have a role next year. I'm not going to go ahead and say wide receiver 2 or even 3, but I think he's probably wide receiver 4. Definitely has the inside track for that job. So Jalen Nailor looks like a good pick for Kwesi there in round 6. And let's go with the last actual draft pick. Nick Muse. That guy right there. Nick Muse, 7th round tight end from South Carolina. Vikings had to have him, and they got him. They got him. What they get from him? They got 10 games played. Mostly special teams. He was cut and then brought back. He was on the practice squad. Production 0 to 0. Potential 0 to 0. I mean, what's his future? Practice squad next year. You got T.J. Hawkinson, Johnny frickin' Munt. I mean, any other tight end, Ben Ellison, if he sticks around, will be ahead of Nick Muse as well. So I don't know. Nick Muse, I don't think there's a whole lot of potential here. Maybe he's a backup. Maybe he's on the roster. Probably not, though. I think Nick Muse will always be remembered for this, and that's going to be about it. So let's go to the final grades, final scores. So production, not a surprise here. The Vikings didn't get a lot of run out of their draft class. Injuries, and really a lot of these picks were for the future. It wasn't like we drafted for starters. Yeah, we would have seen more of Cine and Booth if they're healthy, but most of these guys were like, backups learning, and then we'll see more year 2. So this was always kind of the way this draft was going to be. So 46% F for the production. Potential grades 21 out of 20, 105%. That's an A+. So a lot of potential here. I mean, really look at it. Cine, Booth, Evans, Ingram, hell, even Chandler could all be starting next year. So that's huge. That's 5 players that could be starting for you from this draft class. So that's crazy. So you combine those numbers together, you get 30.25 out of 40, which is a 76% and is a C. So, a pretty fair grade, I think, when you factor the extreme high of the upside to the extreme low of the production year 1 for the Minnesota Vikings 2022 NFL draft class. So overall, the group, we'll see. Time will tell on this one because you really truly do need those 3 years. And while there's a lot of guys here who could see some roles increase next year, they got to stay healthy. So we'll see if this injury thing is just a fluke or if these guys are definitely just injury prone. That's what they're always going to be. So time will tell. Year 1, production was an F, potential was an A, overall a C. That's your grade for your Minnesota Vikings 2022 NFL draft class. Let me know in the comments below if you agree, disagree. What grade would you give it? And will Nick Muse have a future with this team? All right. Until then, guys, keep your skull in your hole.